We're back in the office of Randy Delatte, of course, Livingston Parish president. He looks a little tired to me because, wow, he's had about a week dealing with the storm and its aftermath. Well, first of all, how did we do, and are we back to normal yet?
We're pretty much back to normal. We did pretty well. I want to give kudos out to the whole team, the Sheriff's Department, Livingston Parish Public Works, and OEP. Everybody worked together, all the volunteer fire departments, all the drainage districts. We had state agencies here at our site, state police, we had wildlife and fisheries, we had electrical companies were here. So we had a great organization who worked together without any hiccups, and we're proud of that.
So you can look back and say everything went okay.
As perfect as it could have been, it went okay. The worst thing we had is a lot of people wanted to volunteer and bring foods, and sometimes we rely on volunteers, we didn't have food. But other than that, it was pretty good.
So I remember after Ida in 2021, you were, of course, a parish councilman. You were extremely outspoken in your criticism of the way that the Emergency Operations Center worked or didn't work. So what do you think?
I think that was a great point that you brought up, and I could say that we made a slam dunk in the new way that we organized it. We feel like out of the 64 parishes, we probably have the #1 facility in the state of Louisiana. We had some outside officials that belonged to the state that came and assured us that we had the best facility.
Well, you were at that time fighting for your district, and the problems on the south end of the parish, people didn't have water, they had nothing. This is what you kept saying on Facebook, we have nothing. So did all that work better this time?
Yes, sir. It worked better for several reasons. One, I think we had a more qualified person in charge, Chris Anderson. Another reason I think it worked better is that it wasn't as bad, the storm, as it was that time that you're referencing. But we believe no matter how bad it would have got, we'd have still had the same success because we had the same organization in place and we had everyone pulling the same way.
Well, for example, the first thing that happened after Ida was that immediately the generator failed for the Emergency Operations Center. I take it that didn't happen this time.
It didn't happen this time, and we actually turned the generator on before we lost power to make sure we wouldn't have any hiccups.
And also you complained that there were no supplies available, not even water. Not water in a truck, not bottled water, no water. And for the people that live on the lower end, I mean, that was deadly.
And you're correct, and this particular time we didn't have any pods where we had to give out any water, any food, or any cleaning supplies. We are still looking at that situation. We'll make that decision after lunch sometime today. But it seems like the water has removed from all people's property, and for most of the roads, all the water's gone. So we probably won't have any pods or anything we can be giving out today.
Well, Entergy and the other utility companies, Demco, they seem to work very well.
I tell you what, Demco's got a special organization. I don't know how they do it, but they right on top of it. Energy's got a little bit ways to go. They had some situations where they showed that people had electricity when they actually didn't have electricity. But Energy themselves had made a big improvement this time over some of the past.
Well, in the meantime, life goes on, and now we're back to normal, which in Livingston Parish means arguing over subdivisions. Let's start at the beginning here. Deer Run, the biggest controversy when it comes to subdivisions. Where do we stand now? Is it all over?
The federal judge has ruled that Deer Run, if they have a clear title to the property, can move forward. There's still some discussion whether they have a clear title to the property. There's a gentleman by the name of Hugh Harris that claims he has a title to the property. So that's going to be between the landowners. They can't move forward until someone is declared clear title to the property.
So that'll be another court case?
That court case is my understanding is in Judge Dyke's court.
So that'll be settled in state court?
Yes, sir. Landowners will be, ownership.
So if they get the ownership issues settled, then they can move forward?
According to the federal judge, they have done everything they have to do, and if they got ownership, they can move forward.
Of course, also, you have a better deal than you had before, right? I mean, the developers have scaled back their plans considerably.
They have, and they have also agreed not to develop certain parts of the property which they were going to develop before, and I thought it would cause us some additional flooding, so they agreed not to do that development.
Well, that's a plus, at least from your standpoint, right?
That's a plus, and also the minimum houses. I forgot right now, but I think it was 125 or 135 less houses. That was another plus.
And that's not the only subdivision that's pending. What about the people? And look, there's a lot of people in Livingston Parish, and maybe a majority, they just don't want any development, at least not for a while. They want time to catch up.
That's a true statement, but they've been a moratorium now for quite a while. So I feel confident that the council will have something ready by the end of the year. There are a lot of home builders that do need to go back to work. We do have some permits that are ready to build, but they're not in areas that you can sell where there's a demand for the homes.
But I mean, you have to understand that people that want no growth, no development, I mean, that can't prevail, right?
No, sir. You're gonna have to have some. You got to provide services to the people that live here now. So that's additional businesses. You're gonna have to have additional schools. You're gonna have to have additional retail shops. You're gonna have to have additional homes. So to say that no development is going to happen, that's not going to work in Livingston Parish. You just got to be able to have developments that doesn't cause an adverse impact on the people that's already in that area.
Well, considering the council committees that seem to every meeting argue over minutia and grant exceptions so that somebody can put a mobile home where they weren't supposed to be able to put a mobile home, and all the other exceptions, the variances, are we any closer to agreeing on a zoning plan?
That's the first step, and it has to happen. I really believe we will have that zoning plan by the end of this year. The council's working on it very hard. They have got engineers, they got consultants working with them. They have all the tools necessary, and it's not rocket science, it's just zoning. So if being it's not rocket science and it's just zoning and everybody else does it, it wouldn't look right if we said at the end of the year where we need another 1 year moratorium because we can't get this right. To me, that would be stalling. That wouldn't be accurate. I just think that this is something they could pass and get done at the end of the year.
Well, we just had a storm, obviously, and I wonder where you think the parish stands on drainage. I noticed that there's a millage on the ballot that's in the drainage district that we have here on the Denham Springs side of the parish. It appears to work very well. That's up for renewal on November 5th. But overall, I mean, Livingston voters have not been willing to pass millages for drainage.
And I'm not going to say just drainage. Livingston Parish tax base is heavily taxed, the citizen that lives in here. And maybe we are paying too many taxes on certain things and not enough taxes on other things. But it's hard to ask for additional tax when the economy is like this and your tax dollars go up, your tax rate goes up 40%. I comfortably couldn't ask for another tax raise or for anything. A renewal is hard to do even today, but certain renewals are needed.
But on drainage, do you feel good about the way the parish stands?
Drainage, to solve Livingston Parish drainage, is going to take federal dollars. And the reason I say it takes federal dollars is that all the water that comes through Livingston Parish comes from the state from as far away as Mississippi. So we draining everybody else. All those other parishes have a tax base. They keep improving their drainage so the water gets here quicker and we can't get rid of our water. The lack of industry means that we're never going to be able to compete with Ascension Parish or EBR or any of those parishes. Our drainage problem is going to have to be solved with federal dollars.
I've been told if a drop of rain falls on the Mississippi River levee in Baton Rouge, it's going to drain into the Amite River.
And that's a true story, Ken, and that's what's so dissatisfying. We have to look at other ways for the water, not to just come through Livingston Parish, but we have to retain water at the gravel pits of Watson. We have to put pumps in the Bayou Manchac to go to Mississippi River. Love to see pumps in a new canal from Garyville to go back to Mississippi River. When you divert water from the people, that's a better deal than trying to raise your home. When you raise your home, you still got a safety issue there. You're going to try to evacuate. That's when the deaths happen. I don't feel like that's the total answer.
Something we haven't talked about in a while is Air Products with their plans for Lake Maurepas. And quiet might be a good thing, it might not be. What's the latest there, if there is a latest?
I want to congratulate the governor. He has worked hard on trying to keep Air Products out of Lake Maurepas. As far as I know, there's no wells that they even asked for a permit for Lake Maurepas. There was 4 wells, and they was all in St. John Parish. There may be a test well in Lake Maurepas in Livingston Parish. I don't know that for a fact, but I think we're gonna be okay with Air Products. In fact, I got to give a shout out to Air Products. We just mentioned about the OEP building being so advanced and so modern. They gave $100,000 to make it that way, and it paid off for us this storm.
They've certainly been very generous to local fire departments and even parish government, as you said.
And that's correct. And look, no one wants any wells in the lake, and we're going to continue to try to discourage that. But at the same time, if they're going to be a neighbor, we have to govern our neighbors just like we govern our citizens.
You know, it's been said if they just were to have the effluent going somewhere else, somewhere nearby maybe, but it's just that Lake Maurepas is such a delicate estuary.
And that's correct. And the wells that they have permitted are actually to be permitted in St. John. It's out the lake towards the swamp end there, so you won't be able to see those well heads through the lake. So,
What else are you working on?
we're working on so much, Ken. Actually, I'm just going to touch a little bit. Our insurance, our CRS system, we've been out since 2016, and it's causing a lot of hardship on our people who have to buy flood insurance. And we're a 10 rating, we're trying to get in the 7th rating. And we got Miss Cindy O'Neill that's working that program, and she is doing a fantastic job. And we're hoping within the next 12 to 16 months we'll have something there.
So that would mean that flood insurance would be cheaper?
Yes, sir, that's what it would mean. And look, everybody, all the other parishes have cheaper. They're at least a 7. Even Walker and Denham is at least a 7 in our area. But Livingston Parish is still a 10. And that's why I had to make the hire with Miss Cindy to see if we couldn't turn that around.
There's been a lot of drainage work done in this parish.
It's been a lot of drainage work, but what happens is, in my opinion, is that the drainage work that was done was probably not done with a plan. And it was just a guess to say, look, there's a restriction here, let's go move it. We actually have a drainage plan now, and we have been on that plan for about 6 months. It's not completed, but we feel it's an interactive plan. We're gonna know when we do something here what's gonna happen downstream or upstream from it. And just by reacting in the past, maybe our money wasn't not in the right place to maybe maximize the drainage for our parish.
The Corps is only just now finishing an overview of drainage for the region. Up till now, they were only guessing if they said that a levee in St. John Parish or a new pump in Ascension Parish, it would affect Livingston Parish or not. They have not known. So no wonder we've had this crazy situation in which every parish is going it alone.
Everybody blames the Corps, rightfully so, in my eyes. The Corps, in my opinion, takes an attitude of not being proactive. They take an attitude of always having a reason not to do something. And I would like to see that thinking change. Congress has tried to change that. You know, we have tried on a state level. We just don't get what we think we need to get out the Corps. And there's certain areas in the United States, even the state of Louisiana didn't have a problem with the Corps. It looks like the Corps just lets them do their dredging or whatever they have to do. You don't hear anything. Mississippi River, you can dredge. A Child Flower, you don't have any problems. You come to Livingston Parish, the Corps don't like you.